back on the ILFL Soccer Night Show. Now, to bring something to you again, forgive me for droning on about this, but last week we highlighted the issues of the laws of the game. And the laws of the game is something that everybody knows. And this season, like we said, there are some 95 law changes. Now, when they talk about 95 law changes, some of them are just changes to wording so that the interpretation of law is a little bit clearer. But there are some that are more obvious, and there are some that are not. And we had a little bit of fun with it last week with the guests of AMY, Shaquille and Nanu. We were in the studio and we were laughing about one or two of the laws. But in all seriousness, there is going to be some changes which some people are only ever going to see highlighted unless they see it on a TV screen or until it happens to them. And then what are you going to do? You're at the mercy of a referee. Are you going to take the referee's word, or are you going to give him a few of your own? Jermaine, I'm going to come to you with this one. Like I said, you've got X amount of referees, an X amount of good referees in your league, and likewise teams as well. Very good teams, very skillful teams, very knowledgeable teams. What's your take on the amount of law changes and how you think they will be implemented in your league? Do you think the referees are the ones who should, well, they're the referees, they're the ones that are going to walk on the pitch and they're going to implement it, or do you think teams should have a little bit of knowledge about what they are?
I think all in all, teams definitely should have knowledge about the rules, and I've actually spoken to some teams and they've told me, yep, Jay, we're up to date, we know the law changes, which I think is good. But I think as a league as well, because it means we've got to change some of our standard code of rules as well. Because obviously before, 8 players was the minimum on the pitch, now it's 7. So we ourselves have to change our standard code of rules. We've got to make sure the teams are aware of the changes as well. But most importantly, and first and foremost, you know, we're set to have a referees meeting to make sure the referees are up to scratch with the laws of the games, the new changes and whatever and whatnot. Because at the end of the day, it'd be silly if a ref doesn't know the new changes and the team does. So we need to make sure the referees are the ones that are up to date. So we'll be sending out the information to the referees first, having a referees meeting, and then also informing the teams and making sure that they know the changes as well.
I'll tell you why I asked this, Fresh. I mean, I know you're league secretary, so this kind of does and doesn't fall within your remit. But we were talking about one or two of, especially some of the ones that the players said, that's a silly rule. You know, the one that the players tell us a silly rule. And it's not so much a law change, just an enforcement this season. And one of those was about, sock tape. And that was one from a couple of seasons ago.
I remember that was one.
But now it's very much about now the whole of the sock. And now you'll see, we've watched some players, I don't know where it comes from, that they like to wear white socks, white ankle socks over their club socks. And I don't know where that came from and why that happens. But that has been completely outlawed now. And it might work at professional, semi-professional status.
It's more of a fashion statement.
But can you imagine the referee now, the poor referee on Hackney Marshes, who's there to tell the team that have just turned up, maybe after a night out on a Saturday, I'm not saying this about all of you teams out there, and he's saying to a player, well, you can't come on the pitch unless you take those socks off. Is it difficult?
It is difficult because what it is, a lot of the players, I know the managers, once they realise there's a lot of changes or certain rules they have to accept or changes, but players are reluctant to take on board. A lot of the players do not listen to the managers or find out what the new changes, etc. It's only once they experience on the match day, they learn and then they start applying that. We as a league obviously will tell the teams or by email, read the changes. We'll have a managers meeting before the season starts and tell them, look, there are 95 changes, please read up on them, make sure you know. As you said, you'll tell the referees, they'll know. The players, they need to take a bit of responsibility to find out about these changes, these rules, etc. So when it comes to on a match day, they're knowledgeable. But unfortunately, that's not most of the cases. If you ask a lot of teams now about the minimum players, half the people don't even know if it's 7 or 8, 6 or 4. They don't know. With other rules as well, they're not clear. It's because they're not reading up on, or either the management are not passing on. So as a league, we can also inform them. That's what we can do. But it's up to managers, I will say the managers, taking the owners, take the responsibility, making sure the squad, the whole players fully understand these rules. So therefore, on a match day, you can't argue with the referee because these are the rules and we have to abide by them.
How sympathetic do you think, as a league, you could or should be to clubs who may get it wrong?
We can sympathise, but at the end of the day, as I said, responsibility with the management. If they don't pass on the information, they're at fault. I won't blame the players because they maybe not access to all the information. The manager should take the responsibility. That's why he's there. He's looking after the team. He should know all the changes, rules, and pass it on to the players. If he doesn't, we can sympathise, but at the end of the day, it means nothing. It's his responsibility. We're going to do our job to tell the teams, right, guys, these are changes. Make sure you're aware of them. Now, the managers or management responsibility is to inform all the players. And if the players don't apply or learn about it, on the match day, they lose that. It's their fault. So I don't really see many sympathy. I won't give any sympathy because, you know, it's your responsibility. You know, these are the rules of the games. You have to abide with them.
Jermaine, just to maybe follow on from that. I mean, I have a saying in football where I say good players play football. They're the ones that just get on with it. They don't fight, they don't fuss, they accept every decision, they just want to turn up and just play football no matter what. Like I said, you've got a lot of good players, you've got a lot of good teams in your league. Can you see, no matter what happens, a player will ask a question, but the majority of the team, they'll just get on with it and take whatever's
yeah, they will just get on with it, and obviously some people will ask the question, but I think as well, we've got websites, and it's not just the manager that goes on websites, a lot of the players go on the websites. And with our website, when we update something, that's something that goes out on Facebook, Twitter, that people that signed up for all the players. And if you go on the website, it will flash up new law changes, press here and all that kind of thing. So I do know a lot of the players will probably use our website and actually look at anything that's new on there and investigate. And I think the website's another tool to get it out there as well as emails, the law changes, and that would hopefully get. But again, it is down, like Rashid, it is down to the managers to make sure they know the rule changes and they inform their players of these changes as well. I am expecting with referees now to show a little bit of common sense and, as I say, school them. Yeah. You know, so if someone's got the wrong tape on, listen, don't wear that next week. Okay, and I've actually instructed a lot of teams to bring sellotape.
Yeah, yeah, I've always said that because
to bring sellotape.
That's the one colour sock tape you can't get wrong.
Can't get
bring
wrong.
sellotape.
Yeah, bring sellotape. Yeah,
because it's the one colour you can't get wrong.
Yeah.
Why even get the sellotape?
It is there. I mean, listen. In all seriousness, you've heard it said by authority from both leagues. The onus is on you, guys out there. And the last thing we want is a player. We all know that sometimes things are said in the heat of a moment in a game. Things happen that sometimes are not quite within the spirit of the game because passion takes over. But remember, the laws are there because they are the laws. And they're there for you, and they're there to help us all enjoy the game of football that we all do love. So I would take it on board that I would say 99.9% of referees will be clued up and will be knowledgeable and will know what they're talking about. And let's face it, I don't think you'll even notice a lot of it until something really significant happens in your game. And as far as you're concerned, the only thing that you'll notice is that you can now kick the ball backwards. Although I did say this last week, and I noticed the fact that you'll see that every team now on TV is kicking the ball backwards. Yeah. You can still kick it forwards, guys. All right? It's not just it has to go backwards now. You can still go forwards. I don't understand with that. I'm going to move on, and we're going to talk just very quickly about the Vets League. And I'm going to show you some of the results from the Vets League that took place last week. Yes, it did happen, and the results are here on the screen for you right now. Are they? Yes? Yay. There we go. In the Premier Division, Beaumont Masters beat London Tigers by 2-1. Yes, I'll say it again. The Beaumont Masters beat London Tigers by 2-1. And I only said it twice because I might never say it again for the rest of this year. The Stepney Legends got a draw against Weavers. Stepney struggling a little bit as they start this season. You can see what's that's done to the Prem. Not a lot is really happening. 2 and 3 games played between most of the teams. 4 points covering the top 4. Hey, who knows? In 4 weeks' time, I could be talking about Stepney being on top, but I'd like to be talking about St Catherine's getting their first point. In the First Division, the Bromley Legends beat Hawk and Eagle by 1-0, and the Mohammedan Vets beat Riverside by 2-1. Methinks Mohammedan are looking at making the Premier Division this time round. The Tower Hamlets Vets went down by 3-1 to FC Bondu. Remember them and what they did a couple of seasons back? In any case, Mohammedan Vets, that graphic would be wrong there, as it shows in any case. But again, as you can see, there are 2 and 3 games played between most teams, and let's just see what's going to happen in a few weeks' time. The Second Division shows us that the Workhouse Vets are top played 2, 1-2, and they've got 6 points. None of the teams have played 3, but they're doing a lot of their catch-up games tonight. They're playing at Stepney Green. We've got 3 games happening over at the Stepney Green AstroTurf, and that is because
unfortunately, we have some lighting issue at Mabley Green, which we are trying to resolve as soon as possible. So for the time being, we'll ask the teams to be patient with us, and we'll try and use both Stepney and Hackney to fulfill the fixtures. There is a Vets managers meeting on Wednesday. An email been sent out, so if you can, all the managers attend, we will give further information, further updates regarding the lighting issue and other details regarding the cup.
Do we know what time and the venue for that?
It should be 7 p.m. at the address has been sent out. It's Harkness House, I believe, in East London. So check the email managers and attend the meeting on Wednesday, and we'll give you further information.
There you go. You heard it from the horse's mouth, and you can't say you weren't told live on air. Second division, like I said, second division games are taking place this evening over at Stepney Green right after this show. Those 3 games are going to be the Beaumont Masters B team against Workhouse, the City Vets versus the Reserve, and Sire Vets B team versus the ELS Vets. And I have to say, I'm liking the new teams in the second division, Rush.
I think the whole idea of the second division is the teams that want to just play Vets League, not really participate and going for the Championship, Premiership, etc. And they're enjoying the most of football because it's more friendly, it's slower in pace, it's more about again game time. And I think they're enjoying themselves. And obviously, it gets them experience. Once they establish themselves, they get hired by Division 1 teams or Premiership teams itself. So it's good fun for Division 2.
Premier Division games taking place this Thursday. These are the games that are taking place at Mabley Green this Thursday. Here they are on the screen for you. The Aberhany Vets take on the Beaumont Masters. London Tigers will take on Weavers. St Catherine's will look for something against their game, against the Sire Vets. Just the 2 games at the top there, Aberhany against Beaumont. Sometimes you think Beaumont, they should kick on from a good win. And then it doesn't really happen.
Well, with Aberhany, we know in the last how many seasons, 6 seasons, they're one of the most tightest defence. Hardly score goals, but hardly concede goals. They just sit back and just take on the pressure. So I'm not expecting too many goals on that game because Aberhany are really good in defensive and they hardly score. So I can see a 0-0 coming there if worst case scenario. The game I'm looking forward is the Tigers versus Weavers. Weavers, I'm enjoying. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Tigers, I'm not surprised to be honest when they lost last week. Even week before, they just about narrowly beat Aberhany. They weren't convincing. I think this year is going to be tough for them. I think their age is probably catching up, or the squad is not looking as strong as before. So the Tigers are looking wounded. So I think it's perfect time for
age is catching up in a veteran league.
In terms of the squad, it's the same players been playing for the last 6 seasons. They got 1 or 2 additions, and I think other teams are improving more or more changes than Tigers. With Tigers, the same players playing all last 6 seasons. So 5 of them out of the 7 have been playing there since day 1. So for me, that's what I mean by age catch up. They need some fresh 35, 36-year-old maybe, because I think other teams like Sire, like Bowman, they're feeling more confident once they're playing against Tigers Vets. I think Weavers will fancy their chances this Thursday. So I won't be surprised if we get another result.
I did stick my neck out a couple of weeks ago and said I like the look of Weavers, and even predicted that you could be championship contenders for the Premier Division. So, like Rash said, could be a good game, that one on Thursday. Might be looking forward to seeing some of that, a little bit of Tigers versus Weavers. Jermaine, I'm just going to come into you, and I'm going to look further down the line. This is way down the line now, but as always, we look forward to Hackney and Leighton's participation in the Champions Cup. Which is somewhere down the line.
It's the one in centre.
Yep, and that's the one there maybe. When do you start thinking about which teams might consider competing in that?
I pretty much look at like the Prem teams, and I also look at teams that are run well and aren't no trouble, and they can play football as well, which is probably why we haven't really had any issues with the teams we've put in a Champions Cup. And so for me, I look at new teams. There's a few teams that's been watching the show, and you know, they feel that they can step up to the game. So I get a few feedback from clubs wanting to do it, and I'll just look at their strengths and how the clubs run as well. because to be honest with you, the teams we put in to participate in this really great cup, people that's going to grace.
So you basically select the teams based on their obviously record, etc. You don't have a qualification period like we have. Like if you win the league, they qualify.
No, really, because I mean, when we first came into the competition, I was kind of told we wanted Prem teams only.
We want strong teams, obviously.
Yeah,
because obviously the Champions League, so obviously we want strong
So,
teams. Yeah, so whichever means you can get best, because you have been quite successful in most of the years.
Yeah.
So obviously last year was a different situation, but I think Hackney 18 League, they've got some good teams in there, so it'll be interesting. I actually know, now you discuss it, this is the tournament. This is, for me, this is the main tournament, the Interleague Champions Cup.
As you can see, this is a conversation that's going to extend right into this very short break that we're about to have. We're going to continue talking, and we'll be back, and we'll see you right after this break.